since you had your epic ditch the torpedo bat performance. I know a lot of people are sick of hearing that word, but I just wanted to get your response on FT to how cool that anti-torpedo game was. It's like Volpe and Jazz and some of those guys in the league are the poster boys, and you were kind of the opposite.
Well, the torpedo bat's cool to me because, I told several people there's only been about 6 or 7 different innovations when it comes to the bat in the 160 years that baseball's been around. You know, the first was you went from ash to maple and then maple to birch, and then you cupped the bat, uncupped it, and then you have the torpedo bat now. So to me, the idea of it was really cool just because there's been so little innovation when it comes to the actual bat. But it's not going to be for everybody. Same thing when they added the puck to the bottom of the bat for some of those guys. It's just not for everybody. Some guys like their bats differently, and so for me, my whole career, I've swung the same model, and the weight is all the way at the very end of the bat. So you change that to be more in the center of the bat. It just felt really off to me, and it might be one of those things where I would like it if I had it like all off season to swing, which I think a lot of those Yankees guys did have it for a while. But that's what happens when the guy that works for you comes up with it. You're granted early access to that kind of stuff. So, yeah, maybe if I had more time with it, I might like it. But for my swing right now, that's definitely not it.
Do you guys have something where you go and like see like a biomechanic engineer, like, hey, we're going to see your swing, we're going to measure your hands? Because back in 2012, I had a teammate, Tuffy Gosowicz. I don't know if you might have played against him.
Yeah.
He went and saw like a mechanic of some kind, and they measured everything. Do you guys have that with the Dodgers to like fit yourself with a bat?
Yeah, we do bat fittings, and it's actually through Marucci, which is the company that made the torpedo bat. So a lot of us were shocked that we hadn't ever heard about the torpedo bat or had access to it before, because we use those guys. They come in, and the way it works is they have all their cameras and the statistical measurements, and they give you different models. They put it on the special scale that they have, and it weighs out, and it's called BPI. It's basically how hard it is to swing the bat. Um, and so they kind of figure out your model based on that. You take 5 to 10 swings with about 40 different bat models, and they figure out, which one's moving through the zone the best, which one are you hitting the ball the hardest with the best, are you having the most consistent contact in the barrel? And um, we do that pretty much every single year. And for me, my bat has always been the best, and my answer to that has been that's just because I've been swinging it the longest, so I know exactly, where the weight is and everything in it. Um, so we do that every year, and a lot of guys have changed bat models because of that.
Hey Max, my guy, this is not for me. This first question this is an AJ question. I was told to say from AJ. I know you guys started off extremely hot. Did you guys actually think you were going to go 162 and 0? This is an
Abs-
AJ question.
Absolutely not. Come on, man. Uh, you know, it, you guys know how baseball is. Any given night, you can run into a guy that's got his best stuff, and it's gonna outperform you. And the other night we ran into Jesus Luzardo, and he looked absolutely unbelievable.
I'm gonna pick up from there, man. Watching you guys is so much fun, right? From an ex player, and I just want you to touch on how important it is because you don't see it every day. And you've been around. You guys have a group that really truly looks like you guys care about winning and care about each other and want to see each other do well. And we talk about a lot of other things, but we don't talk about that enough. The character and chemistry. How big has that been for you? And a reason why you should stay there and be a Dodger.
Yeah, it kind of means everything to me, and it's something that we've created in the clubhouse. It's the culture with the Dodgers, and that's why it's meant so much to me to be able to stay here. Um, Everybody buys into what we're trying to do, and that's winning the game. It doesn't matter how it gets done as long as you win the game. So, your personal stats have no bearing on it as long as you're doing the job that helps the team win. Because there's certain things that don't show up in the stat category. Did you move a guy over from second to third? Did you possibly, take a little bit off in the bat to try to get a job done? As a pitcher, are you trying to navigate an inning to limit your pitch count, knowing we're short in the bullpen, or just little things like that? And that's kind of the culture we've created. You know, with the Dodgers, and I feel very blessed and honored to have been able to be a part of that for as long as I have. Um, it's just really fun, and when guys come in, they immediately buy into it because they see what we're doing over here, and uh, I think that's what also helps keep the clubhouse how it is because you're talking about a lot of names that want to be playing every single day, but they also understand we're trying to do anything we can to have our best chance to win and get to October. And guys give up that kind of personal. I want to be doing this as long as we're winning, and so it's to me it's really cool to see it.
Okay, so you talk about a guy's buying in, and I want to talk about a guy I saw at a young age before anybody knew him, and I thought he had a way of making the game look easy. Can you talk about how special Teoscar Hernandez is? I mean, I don't think people really know how good. You know what I'm saying? You get to watch Teo on a daily basis. Can you just speak on how important he has been for that organization? Clearly, you watch what he did in the playoffs, and even right now with this early success, with all the names that you guys have, it seems like he just quietly shows up every night. Can you just talk about how disgusting he really is?
Yeah, he has very consistent at bats. He has a very simple idea of what he's trying to do in the batter's box, and that allows him to just do a ton of damage. His swing works for what he's trying to do, and he understands that. He understands exactly what he wants to do with every single ball that's thrown, and you see it go out there. He continuously drives balls to the right side of the field. He has, a lot of power that way, and that's what allows him, when the mistakes are made, to pull those balls and get the big homers that he does. And he just has consistent at bats night in and night out. And when you can have a guy like that in the middle of the order, it just lengthens the lineup so much. And he's driving in a ton of runs for us already. And at the end of the year, we know what his numbers are going to be. He's a consistent player that it's just another another guy that the other team has to worry about. And yeah, it just makes it tough.
So Max, we spoke to you in Tokyo. We haven't spoke to you since you got back. What was that like as an experience? And I do want to get the Shohei factor of how beloved he is there, how he's on every billboard there. I was there a few months ago and I knew I was going to see him. I saw him much more than I thought in sneaky spots. Like you're in a store and there's something that's not even like all over the store, just like a little, lip balm here, a little pack of mints there. It was just everywhere, right? It was subtle at times. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that. And did any of that obviously spill into this celebration that now has been created on the base paths?
I think you already know the answer to that one. Yeah, yes, it did. We have our hitters meetings every day, and we kind of go over a bunch of stuff. And Cole, the guy who puts together the PowerPoints for our hitters meetings, he kind of snuck in one of his commercials, and uh, I think the brand was Decorte or Decorte. I don't know how you say it, but um, he's swinging the thing across his face and gives a little wink at the end, and so we all had a great laugh at that one, and so we just took it out onto the get on. That night is when he hit the walk off homer, so we just kind of carried it on, and that's usually how those types of celebrations start. It's just a little moment that everyone has a laugh at, and you just kind of make fun of it, and then you realize, hey, this is kind of a good thing to do, and you just roll with it, and so that's how those celebrations starts. But as far as the Tokyo series, it was unbelievable. It was really cool, once in a lifetime trip for me. Especially when you're talking about going there with Show and Yosh and Roki. It was just the seeing all of those guys everywhere the way that they were was it was wild. It was like traveling with the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or something. It was, you know, just crazy. The amount of people that were everywhere that we went. It was really, really cool. I had a lot of fun. Um, I was also ready to come home, but that's because we did the Korea trip last year, and it's just a lot to start your season to make a trip like that. But it was also I'm really glad that we got a chance to do it. It was really fun.
How was Roki received? Because Roki was just there like 3, 4 months ago, and I get it. Yamamoto and Otani have done bigger things now because they've been in the big leagues for longer. But how was Roki received during that time?
Yeah, he received awesome. They love him, and he's going to be an unbelievable pitcher for us. And so just to see him get that reception from his home country, it's always really cool. It's really special to be able to see that. And he obviously Show gets the biggest reception, but those two guys weren't far behind.
All right, so now we got to go to some of your coaches. All right, one of your biggest coaches actually works on this show, and AJ is probably one of the cheaper people that has 60 to 70, maybe billions and millions of dollars of big lucrative deals. But he's going to expect some type of gift because he thinks that you got 3 hits because of him. How much credit do you or don't you give to AJ Przinsky for the conversation you guys had before the game?
Because it's AJ, I'm gonna give him absolutely zero credit.
More in a minute, but first, a quick word from our sponsor of this video.
FT fam, you gotta check out what Harry's brings to the table. And I hope that if you're listening to this, you check out the video version of this conversation at some point, because that razor, Eric Kratz, looks like it stands out for multiple reasons.
I mean, I'll take the cover off. All these blades, each one of them ridiculously sharp, makes for a nice smoothness here and up there.
German engineered blades made in their own factory. They stay sharp longer. Okay. You've got customizable delivery options. Harry stands out for the sharpness, for the pricing, for the variety. And you can get a 5-blade razor, a weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and a travel cover for just $3 at harrys.com/Val. Get the edge on your shave with Harry's. Normally their trial set's $13 right now. You can get it for just $3 at harrys.com/Val. That's our exclusive FT link. harrys.com/Val for a $3 trial set.
And now back to the video.
Good. But then,
Yeah, he comes in the locker room and he's chatting it up, and it's always good to see AJ. And he just makes it seem like it's no big deal. You're not facing anyone that's handled you in the past. It's not a big deal. He's just gonna hang you a curveball. Just stay back on it, put it in play. Oh, it's that simple. All right, yeah. Let me just go out there and do that for you. No big deal. All right.
yeah, so that's kind of what I want to get to. I want you to hear it from AJ's point of view so that we're not taking it out of context, because I think he thinks the game is easy now that he doesn't play anymore. But here's what he said, how the conversation went down.
I was in Philadelphia this weekend. I as a Fox analyst, we get to go in the clubhouses, and Max was in there, and I was talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm kind of struggling." I'm like, "Dude, you're like 3 for 20. I forget what the numbers were, whatever." I'm like, "But if this was in June, nobody would care." He's like, "That's a good point." I'm like, "Max, you've gotten too many hits. You're too good to let this go." And he's like, "You're right. And I'm like, "Oh, you got Nolan. He's going to flip you some curveballs. Just get out in front and clip it out front and hit one down the right field line, and then you go from there." And he's like, da 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 da. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to swing at the curveball. I'm like, well, at some point you're going to have to swing at one. And he's just kind of like, I don't know. But it all started because I wanted to see his torpedo bat, which he had thrown in the garbage because he said it had no hits in it. So I'm like, just, get your torpedo bat out of the garbage, flip one down the right field line, you'll get going. Well, Max Muncy, guess what he does? 3 for 3. I had no idea at the time. He was 1 for 21 off Nola with 11 punchies. I had absolutely no idea because I hadn't read the notes yet. Instead, I felt like an idiot. He went out, went 3 for 3. So, Max, you owe me something for those 3 for 3 when you come on tomorrow, brother.
I don't know if I owe him anything for that, but I'll give him a thank you. But yeah. He comes in just acting like it's a guy that I've hit a lot of balls hard off of, and they just hadn't had any luck. And no, Nola's owned me in the past, and like I said in the post game, he has the best, if not one of the best curveballs in baseball, and he loves to throw it to me. And then you get so worried about it, and that's when he front hips the sinker, and you have no chance to pull the trigger because you're so worried about the curveball. It's just a very, very tough at bat for me. He has a really good idea what he's doing on the mound, and this stuff's really good.
We just talked about, right before you came on, you might have even been logging in when we talked about it, who has the best curveball in the game? Everyone used to talk about Wainwright's curveball, and before Cam said, Glasnow has to have the best, true 12-6 curveball. Would you put Nola's, even though it's different than Glasnow's, over Tyler's, or would you put it maybe second place?
Glass has got a really good curveball, but his is just straight down, and that's what makes it so tough. Is he throws that four seam at the top of the zone, and then the curveball comes out of the exact same plane, and it's bouncing in front of the plate, and so you're swinging at it. And that's why you see a lot of those swings on the balls that aren't even close to the zone on Glasnow's curveball, because it comes out of the exact same plane as his fastball. Nola's is just completely different because like I said, Glass is straight down, whereas Nola's is at least from the left-handed side, it pops out past the shortstop, goes up, comes all the way back in, and then goes down. So there's just so much movement to it. So it's a completely different shape. And so it's almost two different categories to me, just because the shape of it. And some guys just have that curveball. I mean, Sale's another one that's like that. His slider from the left side, it comes at you, goes up, comes out, and still ends up in the other batter's box in the dirt. And so you don't know which one you need to swing at.
Can the Trajekt which is the pitching machine that has the video and everything. For people who don't know, it simulates the pitches. Can the Trajekt actually simulate those like one-of-a-kind pitches? Because like the Sail one, they'd have to move the whole Trajekt system like behind you to like face it. Or is it not do a good job of actually doing the exact pitch?
So the Traject it's really unbelievable. We have one, we use it all the time. Uh, and it's hard to describe, but maybe you'll understand what I'm trying to say, that the pitch shape is almost identical, but the way it feels is nowhere close to what it actually is in game. Um, and we always talk about Darvish's curveball or his slider or whatever he wants to call it. It'll match the shape identical to it, but it just feels way too hard. Versus when you face him in the game, it feels like it hits a brick wall. It has the parachute effect. It just slows down, halfway through the air, and then it keeps slowing down, and it feels like it never gets to you, even though it's 83 miles an hour. Um, there's just no way a pitching machine can ever mimic that feeling of a baseball. And it goes the same for some fastballs too. I mean, you'll know some fastballs just feel like they have that turbo attached to it. So, right before it gets to the home plate, it almost feels like it speeds up on you. It's not just one speed the whole way there.
All right, let's talk about weather since you're on the beautiful East Coast. Cam lives on the East Coast. He's a little softer. He lives down south. But you're Texas and LA for the most part of your life. Do you give any credence to the guys who have to like put on tons of layers, wrap up, and all they got is like just their face or just their eyes? Or are you a Vaseline guy? How do guys deal with it, and how do you deal with it?
Yeah, I was almost there last night having the hot, the ninja mask on and everything. It was cold last night. Um, the guys that play on the East Coast, they're true grinders in my opinion, because you're talking about, possible rain delay almost every single day, and it's cold as all get out in the early part of the season, and then it's hot and humid in the middle part of the season. It's tough to play on the East Coast, and when you're out west for your entire career, those East Coast trips get real tough, and you see it happen real fast with guys that come over to us when you have that East Coast day game where you're waking up at what's essentially 5 o'clock in the morning LA time. You got to get to that day game, and then it's raining and it's cold and it's windy. It's just not stuff that we're used to dealing with, and so it makes it a little challenging. But it is baseball. You got to find a way to get through it. You can't. The other team has to play in the exact same conditions, so you can't really complain about it. Um, it's Yeah, I mean, guys have tons of different ways of doing it. The Vaseline trick, I've always liked that. From when I played in Oakland, Martha Simeon used to tell me about that. You just, rub Vaseline all over you, kind of closes up the pores a little bit so you don't feel the wind. And that one tends to help out a lot. Just rub some Vaseline all over the place.
Hey, one more for you, Max. Are you surprised that some of the newer ballparks in the Midwest and on the East Coast didn't end up getting retractable roofs? I know there's not infinite money on the planet, but I mean, even for recruiting purposes, like Roki, for example, they asked Kodai Senga of the Mets, either why he didn't go there or why they didn't have a better chance. And he joked, but he was like, we need a roof. But I'm like, seriously, I mean, if money's close enough and you're coming from Japan where I think they all have domes, right? Or maybe retractable. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that they have controlled environment out there. I'm like, it's a tough selling point when you're in a lot of these places for a month or two. Winter gets later now, and it's freaking cold for the first month or two of the season.
Yeah, and like you said, the money issue is always going to be there. For me, though, I don't understand why you wouldn't do it, because that opens up so many more opportunities for you to do stuff, concerts, and you can host basketball games or boxing matches or UFC fights in the wintertime when it's really terrible weather. Well, it's not terrible inside, and so it opens up the opportunity of hosting so many more events, and that allows you to continue your revenue stream into the stadium. And um, that's the one thing I haven't understood is when you build a new stadium, you'd think you'd want to keep as many avenues as possible to keep fans coming into the stadium at all times of the year. Um, but I'm also not a huge business person. I don't fully understand the economics behind all of that. That's just me having a look on the outside.
Everybody, be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
baseball the way it should be covered.